Hi everyone, Miss Foster here. I just wanted to read you a quick story because I'm missing you all so much and I hope you're all safe. I hope you're all well and staying inside and I'm thinking of you all, especially my little year ones. I do miss you all so much. So the book I'm going to read is The Boy Who Switched Off the Sun by Mark O'Hanlon. It's one of my favourites. So, little Marcel didn't just like ice cream. He absolutely, completely loved the stuff. In fact, he loved it so much he had stockpiles hidden in every corner of his house. He liked nothing more than enjoying a big delicious scoop while sat on his favourite bench by the beach. But there was a problem. A very big problem. The sun. Its hot sweltering rays always turned his delicious frozen treat into a dripping mushy mess long before he could even finish it. Marcel tried everything. He tried eating his ice cream so fast that it didn't have time to melt, but that only made big sticky splodges fly everywhere. He ate it in a frosty cold, but that gave him a horrible brain freeze. And he even tried eating it in the dark of night, but that was far too scary. From out of nowhere, he had an amazing idea. The sun was just like an enormous, dazzling light bulb dangling in the sky. "That's it," shouted Marcel. "I'll just switch off the sun." But the sun was millions and millions of miles away. Marcel would need to build a super fast solar panelled space rocket if he was ever going to travel that far. So after weeks of building, banging, drilling and clanging, he proudly added the finishing touch to his gleaming spacecraft. That night, Marcel was so excited he hardly slept a wink. Next morning, he leapt out of bed and ran down to prepare for launch. It was perfect rocket flying weather. "All systems ready for liftoff," announced Marcel as the onboard computer began its sequence. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off! The powerful rocket blasted higher and higher up through the clouds and out into space. Up amongst the stars, he could see the Earth disappearing into the distance. Marcel thought it looked amazing, just like a great big fluffy scoop of bubblegum and pistachio ice cream. By the time they finally reached the sun, planet Earth seemed like a tiny dot in space. Marcel could see the giant off switch and quickly set to work. Floating closer and closer, he could feel the powerful heat washing over him and he wished he had some yummy ice cream to cool him down. Then he pushed and pushed with all of his strength until with one huge effort and a little help from his dog, Kerlunk! Marcel switched off the sun. But as he set off for home, the sunlight faded fast and his solar panelled rocket began to run out of fuel, spiralling out of control. Luckily, Marcel managed to crash land safely back into his garden. That night, very tired from his long journey, Marcel had lovely dreams about enjoying his favourite treat by the beach without it melting away. But when Marcel awoke the next morning, all was not well. It was still very dark and scary and far too cold to eat ice cream. And much worse than that, terrible things started to happen all around the world. Flowers and forests were dying, animals on the planets went into hiding, and the oceans were in a big freeze. Marcel realised he'd made the biggest mistake of all time. He must switch the sun back on without delay. But without the sun's energy, his solar panelled rocket just wouldn't work. He needed to think of a solution, and quickly. And there was one thing that always helped Marcel to think more clearly: strawberry cheesecake ice cream. As he tucked into a super-sized scoop, the idea suddenly struck him. He would build a giant catapult to fire an enormous ball of ice cream straight onto the sun's on switch. Marcel worked late into the night building a scoop the size of a house. It was so utterly enormous it used up his entire stockpile of ice cream, so he knew he would only have one shot at the sun. Finally, everything was ready. Crowds of people came from near and far, all desperately hoping that Marcel would be able to switch the sun back on. "Commence countdown," he yelled. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire! Everybody watched in wonder as the giant ball of deliciousness hurtled towards the sun. "Oh no!" shouted Marcel. The ice cream was starting to melt as it zoomed towards the sun's dying heat. And as it got closer, more and more just melted away until all that remained was a frozen scoop of Tutti Frutti. Everybody held their breath as the solid icy chunk landed, a direct hit on the sun's on switch. But nothing seemed to happen. Had Marcel's plan failed? Angry and disappointed, the crowds started to walk away. Then suddenly, the sky was filled with the brightest light anyone had ever seen. "Hooray!" everyone cheered, running and dancing into the streets. The next day, all around the world, everything began to return to normal. The world's oceans defrosted, the forests and flowers came back alive, and the animals came out of hiding. And although it was a drippy, melting mess, Marcel was very happy to be sitting on his favourite bench enjoying his ice cream. And so was his dog. So I hope you all enjoyed that book. I really do enjoy it myself. And I really hope it's not too long until I get to see you all again. Bye.